Peace and blessings, everyone. It's me, Dr. Sabrina, and welcome to Soul Speak Conversations for Your Healing Journey, where so many of you have sent your questions to me, and I have done my best, my absolute best to answer them based on my experience as a human, as a woman with many decades on this planet, but also as a therapist and a writer and a peace builder and a woman who has been blessed to sit with thousands of people over the years. So today's question actually gets me quite excited and also concerned, but I'm excited because it's the second week in a row that the men have submitted questions. And I love when that happens because it reminds me that there are men that are doing this work when my practice has predominantly been women, disproportionately women, but also just my field in general. We tend to serve more women than men. So I'm excited that TJ felt a sense of safety in submitting this question. And so he writes, "Dear Dr. Sabrina, my mother has seemed to be jealous of every woman I have ever brought home. When I married my life partner, she pretended to like this one. But every time I do something with my wife without her, she has become aggressive and rude. I love them both and I don't want to choose. How do I mend this break? I love my mother and I do not like what she's doing." TJ, this sense of being pulled into two directions does make sense. And I want to remind you that it is a pattern that only you have the capacity to break. You are not responsible for what your mother does. You're not responsible for what your wife does. You are only responsible for what you do. And so the first question I want you to ponder is, what has been my contribution to this conflict? Just sit with that answer for a second. Perhaps you have allowed it to go on too long. Perhaps you've brushed it off when your wife has mentioned it. Perhaps you said, "Oh, mother," in a very soft kind of way that allowed your mom to continue. I don't know. Just whatever your part has been, the first step to healing is to own your part. What are you uniquely responsible for? That's number one. And then number two, which I don't see in this, is whether you have actually said to your mother, "Please do not put me in a position of choosing." Clearly tell your mother how much you love her, how much you want to be there for her for the rest of your life, just as she has been there for you for all of yours, and that there is another woman. And remind your mother that she may have a heart that is big enough to hold many, and so do you. So the best way that you can shift this pattern is to be clear, is to be firm, it's to be loving, and to be consistent. And to remind your mother over and over and over again, "I love you, I'm your son, I am a man, and now I love more than just one woman. And I love my wife in a very different way than I love you, Mom. And I know it's not an easy position to be in, but it's not an impossible one, TJ. And it first begins with you shifting the pattern. And then noticing what happens to the people around you. To not expect them to change, but to expect you to change in how you interact with them. And to do that, TJ, from a place of the deepest, deepest love and respect. To hold firm, to be solid, to be clear, to look your mother, and I don't know what your wife is doing. Based on what you shared, she's not been as engaged in this conflict as your mom. but to look them in the eye and say, I love you, I am here, here is what I am willing to do, and here is what I expect of you. And when you do that, TJ, in a time that I don't know, but I assure you that things will shift. You, TJ, have the power to break that pattern, but hold everyone, including yourself, with the deepest love and compassion. So I thank you for the question. I appreciate all the men that have listened to this answer. If you're that mother or that wife, I appreciate you for listening and holding the TJ of your life with the deepest compassion for what it might be like for him as well. And families are a wonderful, wonderful place for us to learn how to love, to learn how to manage conflict, to learn how to be the very best people that we can be, and to hold all of these conflicts as our deepest teachers. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you. I wish all of you a glorious week, a glorious life. Peace and blessings.